What's going on, everybody? Dick B. A little bit of a different scene for you. Sitting in the kitchen. So, hold on, I'm trying to get this mint. I don't know if you're a nicotine user like myself. I'm not a doctor, not here to give any kind of medical advice or anything like that. But in terms of like nicotine mints or pouches or anything like that, Knick Knack is who you want to use. I really like this lemon flavor too. Not a sponsor, maybe one day, just saying. Huge research out there about the positive impacts of nicotine. Anyway, just beside the point. Just giving a little bit of an update on what's been going on. Those of you that have followed me for any length of time, you know that I've kind of struggled with my weight. I've done really good at some points, and I've gotten really bad, and I've gotten back into one of my bad times. My wife and I started a journey about a year ago to lose weight. I lost almost 80 pounds, I think. And now I've gained probably about 50 of that back, which I'm not proud of. I'm not happy about it. Kind of pisses me off, if I'm being honest with you. I know how it happened. I know what I got to do to get better at it. I got sick and started eating. You kind of get in your feels when all the shit with the radio went down. I had a lot of money invested in it. Still have a lot of money invested in it. Had a lot of people that were counting on me for their livelihoods that I had to say, yeah, look, it's going to take me a little bit more time. And it is. It's going to take me a little bit more time to get back to where I was. But we're there. We're getting there. So during this period of about, I don't know, since October, it just kind of became a fuck all kind of a thing. Because I don't know if you noticed, but I got this little part back, and I had done very good and had lost a lot of this, which is what I want to do because, I try to live healthy. I try to eat healthy. Don't come at me for the nicotine unless you know what you're talking about. But anyway, so I started eating the bad food again. I started eating a lot of junk. The holidays came, and it was like, oh, I'll just finish it for the holidays. And then I started eating it more and more and more and more. Got back into eating like tortillas and stuff, and just haven't stopped, if I'm being honest. And I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out of the funk that I had, getting over some of the issues that I was going through. And so now it's like, all right, let's get back to work. So I'm restarting the journey that I technically started this time last year when I lost all my weight. And I lost it pretty quick, and hopefully I'll lose it pretty quick again because I go pretty gung-ho. But one of the ways that I kind of jump-started my whole getting healthy phase from last year was I fasted, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to just give up a lot of the bad foods that I had been eating back then. And I'm talking like fried foods. I'm from the South. And if it ain't fried, we ain't eating it sometimes, So anyway, I was like, I'm not going to be able to shake a lot of these bad foods that I have incorporated into my life without doing something drastic and extreme. And again, I'm not here to give any kind of medical advice. I'm simply talking about what happened for me and what I did for me and me only. So I did the fast. I did the 3-day fast. And when I tell you, I felt amazing after the fast. Then I was reading, the statistics and the things and why you do it. A lot of religious customs out there believe in fasting. So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I'm going to try and incorporate this in my daily regimen of trying to eat better, be a better example for my kids, and get back to the healthier side that I was before I got all in my feels and started feeling bad about everything that was happening. I don't want to go as far as to say depression, because I love my life. I love my kids. I love all of everything that happens to me, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. So it wasn't really a depression. It was more like I felt like a disappointment that I let a lot of people down. And I know I did. A lot of people I'm working to regain the confidence that they had in me before. I know it's an uphill battle. I'm the loudmouth of the South. I shoot my mouth off. Sometimes that costs, well, a lot of times it's cost me issues, but at the same time, I've always said my entire life, I'm going to be as authentically me as I can be. And I have for the majority of my life. And again, it's caused me problems throughout my life. It's caused me jobs. It's caused me friendships. It's caused me relationships with family members and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm no worries. I'm going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, I'm going to say it. And if you don't like it, I'm still standing by what I said. I've always said that I'm not the type of guy that apologizes unless there's reason to apologize. So when I told all these people that, you know, we had these radio stations that we were buying, and we did buy a few of them. And it's one of those things where we didn't know, and by we, I mean mostly me, I didn't know a lot of the proper ways to go about some things. And so some requirements got left behind, mainly like people with criminal records. And I've already kind of gone over this a little bit in another video. And that's not really what this one's about. But that was the whole kind of precursor to what led me back to eating bad again. And when radio stopped, I went and I did a TV show and a couple of movies, and it was like, okay. And I started eating bad because of the hours and the, you know, grabbing what I could to eat here and there. And my vice is, number one, my coffee. I wasn't a coffee drinker until like 5 years ago, and now I can't get enough of the stuff. I spent a small fortune on Starbucks the first couple of years that I was drinking coffee. Had to have my latte. Sometimes I was having a 4-shot latte twice a day, and that's a lot. But that's what I was doing. I was slamming those things back. I was loving it, loving life. They pair really well with my cigars, which y'all know how I am about my cigars. And it was like, okay, this is life, right? Where was the coffee my whole life? Like, people have tried to get me to drink coffee, and it's always been like, oh, no, I didn't like coffee. I was always a soda drinker. And then when I had all my trouble with my liver years ago, that's when I quit drinking soda. I always told my wife always begged me for years, drink water, drink water, drink water. I was like, I'd rather die. I would rather die than drink anything other than soda. And my liver crapped out, and it was ended up getting diagnosed with something called non-alcoholic fatty liver syndrome, which basically means my liver has a lot of scarring on it from a lot of the food that I was eating. I've never really ate well. I've always exercised to a degree. I've always been somewhat fit, but I've been a big dude since adulthood. And I never thought much about it. I still don't really give two shits about it, if I'm being honest. But come to find out, a lot of the issues that I had was a main ingredient that is in just about everything. And one other thing that, for those of you that don't know me, one thing that I've always lived by is the 3 boats rule. And it's a story that I heard when I was a kid about this area was flooding, and this guy climbed to the top of his roof. And as the water was rising, a boat came by and said, you know, hey, mister, you won't get in my boat so I can take you to dry land? And the guy replied, no, God's got me. He stayed on his roof. The water started rising again, started getting a little high. It was starting to get to his roof. A second boat comes by, and he goes, that boat guy was like, hey, buddy, I think the water is going to overtake you. You want to get in my boat, excuse me, and I'll take you to dry land. He's like, no, God's got me. The water kept rising, and now it was at the guy's feet. And a third boat came by, and the guy said, hey, mister, jump in, and I'll take you to dry water, or dry land. And he says, no, that's okay, God's got me. Well, the water ended up overtaking him. He ended up dying, and he went to heaven, and he told God, he said, God, what happened? Why didn't you save me? And God goes, I sent you 3 boats. I'm a 3 boats kind of guy. I always look for the symbols in the universe trying to give me a message. 3 boats, right? 3 boats, that's it. If you don't heed the message, the warning, whatever it may be, the universe moves on. So I always had this guy, this friend of mine, and I'll just call him Alexander. And he was always telling me, dude, you got to chill on those sodas. And it was a certain green soda that a lot of people drink by a company that starts with, the name of the brand is an M and a D. Figure it out. So anyway, I was slamming those back too. Right before my liver gave me shit, I was throwing those things back. But I would always eat it with a fried chicken dinner. That was my lunch. And I'm not talking just like a regular couple chicken strips. I got what I like to call the fat boy meal, which came with, at that time, it came with 2 pieces of bread, 2 sauces, and like 6 or 8 chicken fingers and a crap ton of fries. And I was in fat boy heaven with that. So I'm slamming back my soda pop, and enjoying life. And then my liver went right after my youngest was born. I stayed strong enough to help my wife with her. And then like a week after she was born, the lights went out. And I started vomiting like crazy. Couldn't keep nothing down. I lost a shit ton of weight. You want to talk about a good diet? That was a good diet. I got down to high school weight. Like, we're talking, I was wearing 32 size pants, which I'm a 36, 38. In my fat times, I'm a 42, 44. I know, not the biggest guy, but pretty big. So I like to stay in the 38 range, right? But anyway, I got down to 32, which is what I was basically in high school. And because I said, I'm a big guy. I've got big, broad shoulders. I got big old legs from playing football, and I constantly worked my legs out when I was younger. I got gigantic legs. That's just part of the story. So I was throwing back the sodas and the chicken, and then after all of this came, my wife was always telling me, hey, give up the sodas. My buddy Alexander was always telling me, dude, you need to quit eating that food and drinking that soda. He's like, have you ever tried this? Like, he was legit caring to try and tell me, dude, you're gonna fuck up your body. I'm like, man, I've been eating this shit since I was a kid, right? So I didn't think anything of it, because I've eaten fried chicken from family members, home cooked, whatever fast food restaurant I could get it from. I have eaten it the majority of my life. And then my wife did a deep dive when I got sick, and nobody could figure out what was happening. And it's one ingredient that both the soda pop and a lot of the food that I was eating at the time, including the chicken with their sauce, have in common. And that ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup kills your liver. And when I tell you I was drinking liters of this particular green drink a day, I was slamming back maybe 6 to 8 of those, because I was running around doing a lot of work and doing a bunch of things, and it was my energy drink, because I didn't drink coffee at the time. And it's like, oh man, it's soda. Like my whole family drinks. I've had soda since I was a kid, whatever, right? Every excuse you can think of. My buddy telling me, my wife telling me, and then the lights went out on me. So when I woke up, it was like, give me water. And since then, it's been nothing but water. Like, I carry around this gigantic jug of water everywhere I go. And if I don't have that with me, I've got at least a couple of bottled waters. I don't like to drink the bottled water because the plastic that's in it, all that, I know there's it's not a plastic, it's a rubber lid. I know it's not as good, but anyway. So I got off of all the bad stuff when I got sick. And then, I started getting better, and it started creeping back that, so I started eating bad again. My wife and I got really busy again with radio stuff and things that were happening. And I just wasn't able to eat the quote unquote healthy stuff because I was always on the run. I was always doing things. I was always out and about, running around, working, hustling, doing what I've always done since I was like 12 years old. Hustling, out there trying to get money, making money, doing what I can, making deals, doing what I can, enjoying my radio life, right? And then we got to a point after COVID, which I'm sure a lot of you can agree, after COVID, I really started taking an inventory on how I'm living. And I told my wife, I'm like, look, I'm never going to give up cigars. Cigars, not a doctor, but cigars are not going to be the death of me. And if they end up being the death of me, I'm going to die doing something I enjoyed, right? There's only one other thing I enjoy more than cigars, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. But as a married adult male, you can probably figure out what that is. So it's like, yeah, the cigars aren't going away, but I got to do something. Because I wasn't liking the way I was looking. I wasn't liking the way I was sounding. Like, I'm back to sounding that way. I'm back to looking the way that I don't want to look, like the big fucking throat, neck, just, ugh. I played football, so of course my neck is big from all the working out that I did as a preteen and a teen. But the fat, I can't stand that. I'm not the type of guy that's going to take the easy way either. Like, bust my ass. Give me the Marine Corps diet again. Put me back to where I was, right? But because of my job and because of everything that I do to earn a living, I don't have time to go to a gym. I don't have time to walk with my wife. I'm trying to get into a better routine where I can do those things. But again, I have gotten big and fat, and I don't like where I'm at in terms of my overall health. But we started looking, and I cut out high fructose corn syrup. Cut it out as much as I could. If it sneaks in from something that I can't help, like I don't eat sauces anymore because just about every sauce, ketchup, honey mustard, ranch, just about everything out there, including bread and crackers, have high fructose corn syrup in it. So when my wife, I have a cold. When my wife did that deep dive and she found out how bad high fructose corn syrup is, particularly for your liver, because the people in the hospital, they're like, when my liver crapped out, they checked my liver enzymes when they were doing all this massive blood work to me or with me. And they said, do you drink a lot of alcohol? And I was like, no. I'm an Irishman, yes, but I don't drink a ton of alcohol. I'll drink it at a party, occasionally at home. I'll have a couple of shots of tequila or, a few glasses of whiskey or whatever, a good scotch with a cigar every now and then, but it's every now and then. It's not every weekend. It's not every day I get home. It's not to that level that they were asking me, and they just didn't want to believe that my liver looked as bad as it did from non-alcohol. They were like, you've got to be drinking. And I told them, I'm not drinking. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't drink. I mean, I enjoy an adult beverage every now and then, but I'm not like throwing them back, right? So my wife and I decided, okay, fuck it. We're just going to remove the high fructose corn syrup. Excuse me. We're going to start trying to eat as best as we can. And then, dadgummit, got the hiccups now. After 2020, well, really before 2020, James, who used to be on the Nick B show with me, he was my co-host, and somebody I consider a good friend. Got to know him very well during the brief period we were on the show together. He started looking into vitamin D and taking vitamin D supplements because he was like, they claim that a lot of our issues are from a lack of a lot of these vitamins that we no longer get in our food. And him and Courtney G at the time too were talking about how they were trying to take more supplements and do things to help them be as healthy as they possibly could, right? And I'm also from the school where it's like the Burt Kreischers, right? You take care of yourself and you bust your ass so you can do the things you love. Like I want to be as healthy as I can be so I can continue to enjoy my cigars and the occasional adult drink. So it's like, okay, I'll take all the vitamins I need to take so I can continue doing that. And then it became the weight problem. And then around 2020, when all that started popping off with the pandemic and everything, it was like, oh, I got to get this under control. So we actively started walking. The year that I walked, or the 2 years that I walked with her, I felt the best I ever had. And then 1 year, which would have been our third year of walking, I crapped out on my wife. It's like, nah, it's hot. And it happened to be one of the hotter summers that we had in a long time down here in the South, which our summers are brutal anyway, but this one was extra brutal. And it was just like, I don't want to do it. You're talking 7 o'clock in the morning and it's already 90 degrees. No, thank you. So I got lazy, didn't want to do it. And my wife was also still trying to stay healthy. She was doing everything she could to stay healthy. My wife is a fucking rock star when it comes to, she sees it, she wants to be it, she wants to do it. She wanted to get her body where she wants it, to feel good about herself and to be healthy for her. And I want to encourage that, so I did everything. And she was encouraging me to go on it with her. So we decided to do the carnivore diet. And the carnivore diet is awesome. Again, not a doctor, just telling you what's happened with me. A carnivore diet, we did kind of a mix of carnivore and keto. And we had huge results. When I tell you I lost like 30 pounds in a month just from doing that, and a little bit of light walking or whatever, and the vitamins, and not drinking anything but my water, and then eventually coffee. It was life-changing for me. I was starting to feel good again and all of that. And somewhere, I want to say it was around October of last year when I quit doing the show, that I just kind of gave up on all of that. And I quit doing the carnivore diet. I started adding sides again. I started eating French fries. The Irishman in me really missed the potatoes, so I started eating potatoes like nobody's business. Mashed potatoes, fried, French fries, whatever I could get my hands on. Started eating bread again. It's just, I know what I need to do to stop. I just need to take that drastic step again and fast. Well, I tried fasting twice to restart the system, right? To get me back to where I was. And I got really sick. Like, I didn't even make it. This last time I tried to fast, I didn't even make it the full day. My head was killing me. My body was really weak. And I don't like feeling that way. So it was like, okay, fuck it, I'm eating. But now, I'm right here again. I know it makes me sound like I'm crazy, and maybe I am, but never said I wasn't. Excuse me. So, I was like, okay, that's it. No more tortillas, no more cheese dip, no more corn tortilla chips, no more French fries, no more mashed potatoes, no more bread. You know, I know what I need to do. I've already been here. I've already done this. So that's where I'm at now. And this has ended up being way longer than I wanted it to be. I definitely would say I was melancholy. I loved my movie. I loved doing the movies. That was a huge bucket list item. I had a blast doing that. And hopefully that'll be out. Those projects will be coming out in a year to 2 years, whatever. And we'll talk about that when they come out. But that was all fun. But now I'm ready to get back to radio. And I don't like the way I sound in my videos, because I know my mic is going to pick it up. And I don't like sounding like a fat ass. So now I'm getting back into the carnivore diet and trying to get back into shape and trying to work out and trying to give myself more of a schedule, which getting back to my show and doing everything the way that I was doing and getting back into the radio life is going to give me the opportunity to do that. So I'm doing this for myself to remind myself of how fat I am right now, which I think today is April 18th. Today is April 18th. Easter is Sunday, which is 4/20. Today is Friday, which is the 18th. Guys, Saturday would be the 19th, and then Sunday is the 20th. 4/20, smoke them if you got them. But I wanted to do it for me. I want to be here for as long as I possibly can. And a lot of the stuff that I've read, I've got my liver good. My liver is solid again. Don't let things like that scare you. If they ever tell you you have non-alcoholic fatty liver syndrome or you have scarring on your liver, our body is masterfully made. And if you give it what it needs, it will heal itself, including scars. Like, I know you can't really see it. I used to have this really gnarly scar right here where I got my tattoo from a really bad wreck that I had when I was in when I was 16. And the scar's gone. It's not there. Like, I know it's there. I can somewhat feel it, and sometimes I can see it. But your body can heal itself. Your cells can, if you leave them alone and let them do and you feed them what they need to, your body is going to be able to bounce back from almost anything. So that's where I'm at now. I got to do the fast because, again, I got to jumpstart everything, and I've got to just cold turkey it all and just kind of mustard through it and push through it. The reason I was talking about these at the beginning is they help me focus. They give me a little boost of energy so that I'm not downing, tons of cups of coffee. And getting older is another part to it. I'm still really young. I'm only in my 40s. So that's 40s. That's another thing that just happens. As you get older, you lose a lot of energy. You lose a lot of the abilities that you had when you were young. So it's not going to be as easy for me to lose weight as I have in the past. But I'm definitely about to start kicking my own ass so that I can do it, so that I sound better on the radio for y'all. I know, those of you that listen. And just so that I can get into the better mindset. Because all of this nasty food I've been eating is starting to fuck with my mental again. And I don't like that. Looking at myself as the fat ass. Calling myself a fat ass. I've done it on this. I don't like that. Not that I'm, a Greek god or anything like that. I know I'm not. I mean, I'm bald practically. And it's just, I don't like the negative stuff, because the more negative you put out, the more negative gets attracted to you. And I'm much more positive. I want to put out much more positive things out there. So this is for me to look back on 3, 6, 12 months from now and say, I did it. So by the end of this year, hopefully I will have lost all of the weight that I had lost, and I'm at the point where I want to be, and y'all are going to see. So the show's coming back. It's coming back as the Nick B Show. Originally wasn't going to do it unless I had everybody from the Nick B Show, but the Nick B Show started with me, LB, JR, and my producer. James and Courtney G came the couple of years after we had started it. So we're going back to the Nick B Show. It's a lot easier. The morning or the social handles are a little bit easier. So you Google the Nick B Show, I pop up typically. So we're going to do that. We're going back to the Nick B Show, and it's coming back hopefully in May. We're still sticking to a May release. We're working on the studio now, which is why I'm doing this in the kitchen instead of at the studio. So that's what this was about. Do better, people. Eat better. Look into the foods that you're eating. Please stop with the soda pop. The pop is not good for you. Just stop. The Cokes, they're not good for you. Do better. Be better. That's what I'm going to do. Hug your loved ones each and every day, because you never know when the good Lord will call them home. For every dark night, there's always a brighter day, and life's just a party, and parties weren't meant to last. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all be good.